Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted today to be joined by rising New Zealander heavyweight Jerome Pampellone. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very, very well. Thank you very much. And at the moment, I believe back on home turf, where you were born in the UK, back in Northampton anyway.
Yeah,
Just tell us first of all about your sort of boxing story, because I know you're based in New Zealand at the moment, but that's not where the story started, is it?
yeah. So I was born in UK. I was born in London. All my family still live here now. I moved over to. I played rugby while I was in England, in London. Moved over to New Zealand when I was about 10 years old with my two sisters, mum and dad. Mum and dad just got a job over there. Thought they'll take it. It's across the other side of the world, but it's something they took. They were travelers when they were younger as a couple. So we got this opportunity, we took it. Um, played say 8 years and 9 years, sorry. Then I turned to boxing when I was 19. So how I got into it was to fit really from that's how I got into boxing. You did?
Yeah. There was a little bit, it cut out a little bit, but I managed to grab most of that. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so from going over to New Zealand, how did your sort of goals and your life change? Was it very much you were still pursuing the same things as you were back in the UK?
With rugby, yes. But I was only young. I was only 10 years old. So I was still, I'm still growing up, still figuring out life. But my passion while I was in England and then when I moved to New Zealand was rugby. But I just wanted to get fitter for rugby. At the time, I had a next door neighbor, Isaac Peach, who's my coach at the moment. He had a little gym going on, and I just popped over and just asked if I could train with him to get fit. That was initial, my initial plan, my initial plan. But from then, I just had a couple of training sessions with him, and he just asked if I wanted to fight. I thought, I thought probably 2 months later, yeah, and I kind of at the beginning I was playing rugby for a little while and boxing, and then I just felt the boxing got a little bit more serious. Started enjoying it more. Started falling away from my rugby, and yeah, started boxing.
How far did you actually get in rugby? And was that sort of a serious career ambition at the time?
At the time, it was so I played for some rep teams. So over there, I played for Auckland,
Hmm.
which is which is the big place everyone knows over there. But yeah, I was doing all right. I don't think I wasn't a very big person, and in rugby, you got to be quite big. So I felt, I tried my best, but I just fell in love with boxing straight away when I started training. When I had my first fight, I just felt that that became my passion.
You talk about the relationship a little bit there with your coach, Isaac Peach, and initially it was just for fitness and you were invited into the gym. How quickly did that become something that you would consider part of your career and sort of a relationship that could come with like a coach fighter relationship?
Yeah. At the start, it was just something I was enjoying. I was enjoying this company. I was enjoying fighting, training. It probably took me, I would say, probably 8 fights, and that's when I turned amateur.
Mm.
So when I just made that decision to go amateur, I thought that's when yeah, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it properly.
Yeah. And for yourself, making those steps must have been a really big move for yourself and the people around you.
Mm.
At that point, was the belief there that this could be your career and your life moving forwards?
Um, at the time when it happened, I was just in the moment of just enjoying what was going on, just loving the sport because it was a new sport. I didn't really follow boxing beforehand either. So
Mm.
everything at the start was quite new. You know, um, Even having Isaac as a friend, he's been a friend a while now. But I just feel as at the very start, I was kind of just going with the flow, loving what I was doing, just loving boxing. And then, like I said, when I got to about my first amateur fight, um, Isaac kind of told me, if you want to do this properly, we could go far with it.
What was the age where you started really picking up boxing and were out in the gym? Because a lot of people now pick up boxing at 6, 7, 8 years
Yeah,
of age. You
uh,
were obviously a little bit later to it.
yeah, I was 19 when I
Mm.
first started boxing, so I was a late starter. Um, but yeah, that doesn't. I feel being late doesn't show for me. I feel anytime you start, if you're passionate about what you do, you love what you do, you've got your goals and you're driven, you can do anything.
And from having a little bit of a look at what you've achieved, you progressed pretty quickly through those amateur ranks. Just tell the people at home what your amateur career looked like and what's
Mm.
got you to this stage.
Yeah, so I've had about 60 amateur fights. I won my first New Zealand national champion as an amateur at I think I was I think I had about 15 fights, amateur fights. Then I was a three times New Zealand champion after that. Three times Golden Glove champion. I went over to the Worlds and I placed in the top eight. I just missed out on one fight to get a medal. So in my journey, lots of things happened so quickly, but I did so well during that period of time. As I said, I kept loving the sport, and the sport was giving back to me. I was able to travel the world with it, go to some places I would never think I would go to. So it has been a journey in my amateur career, and now I've reached my pro career. It's just another level.
Yeah, and moving sort of step by step in your pro career at the moment. I know you've been in there with some notable names. Malik Zainab was a name that popped up in your record. We've seen him in with Dimitri Bivol, I believe earlier this year
Yeah,
it was that fight.
yeah,
How has the progression felt for yourself in the pro ranks? Are you where you want to be at this moment in your career? And how do you see the
yeah.
next 18 months or so playing out?
Well, obviously, obviously, my last two fights I've lost, and obviously that's not the goal at all. I want to be winning, so I've had a little setback. Um, but it's just giving me extra fire in the belly. I'm still learning. I'm still young. I'm only 28. I've got a lot left to give to this game. So I feel this is just like I could say this is just half of my career. I'm opening a new chapter. I've just signed on with Nova Sport, with Napa. So it's exciting times ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned those two losses. They're never an easy chapter in any athlete's career. How have they sort of affected you, and do they change the mindset at all in terms of moving forwards?
And the mindset stays the same. I want to be a world champion. When we made a decision to go pro, world champion is was the goal, and that's what I want to be, and I firmly believe I will be. I've come up short in the last two fights. They're both top 15 opponents. One was a majority, one was a split decision. But losing sucks. So I'm ready to get back on that winning streak, and just get back to that top again.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about your amateur pedigree, and a name that popped up sort of in the conversation is Ben Whittaker, who's been making some strides back here in the UK, but suffered a draw with Lee and Cameron just a few weeks back in controversial fashion as well. What was your sort of experience like with Ben back then?
So I thought Ben. So I lost to Ben to get a medal at the World Champions. So obviously that sucked because every fight you go in you're trying to win, but he's a tricky operator. As everyone's seen before in his last fight, it didn't go his way. I don't want to say too much about it because I wasn't in this position. But yeah, in the future that could be someone I would love to fight one day as well.
How was the style that we see from Ben now in the pro ranks? How did it compare with the style that you faced, you say, at the World Championships?
Quite similar, but obviously you change, you do different things with different sort of opponents.
Hmm.
So I can't speak for other opponents, but for myself, I was a come forward fighter, and obviously he was on the move. and maybe try something different. But yeah, that's in the past now. Being pro is completely different sport now. Being a pro, and all these sort of fighters in England, in the UK, I'm happy to fight them.
Yeah, I was going to say the light heavyweight division in particular is really thriving over here in the UK. Obviously, at the top of the tree, you've got Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, but probably in the rung under that, you've got your Anthony Yards, your Joshua
Yeah,
Buatsis, the likes of your Liam Camerons, Lyndon Arthur. It's a real thriving scene back here in the UK. Is it a fight that you would like to have back here in the place you were born, fighting one of those names?
yeah, definitely. And that's one of the goals. I wanted to fight in England, a big fight. Come back and fight with all my family. But there's a long list in the light heavyweight division in England, and with my new management, Nova Sport, he's got that sort of connections and that look into the UK scene. So I'm looking forward to it. I just gotta, like I said, it's a new year next year. Get back on that winning streak, and any of these sort of fighters in the light heavyweight division in England, I'm ready to fight.
Yeah, the majority of your career has obviously been back in New Zealand and Australia. I mean, is it now a case of you see as we look forward, your fights being over here in the UK, or are you still looking at back home?
I hope so. That's been the talk of me and my team, is to get some fights over in the UK, and fight these top light heavies.
Good stuff. In terms of the promotional situation with yourself, we know at the moment everybody seems to be working together, essentially as far as Queensbury and Matchroom are going. Boxer obviously in on that as well with Riyadh season. Would you be happy to work with anybody over here?
Yeah, so before this, I was a free agent, and I was lucky enough to go with Nova Sport. So depending on what my team says, what Nova Sport says as their money management, I'm out there for anything really.
We talked about Ben Whittaker. I want to touch on the main event of that card in Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. A fantastic fight. Just first of all, what were your reflections on the outcome and the action we saw in the ring that night?
Yeah, I thought it was a great fight. Watching that fight, it just shows where I need to be, and I know I can get there. But it was a great fight to watch. It was a close fight. It was a real close fight. I've seen lots of people scoring it differently, but for myself, I would either give it a draw or I give it 2 rounds to Bivol. But then lots of people saying if we watched the fight and seen it differently. But at the time and point when I watched it, it was a very close fight. It could have went either way.
What do you think Dimitri
I
Bivol?
think there's a
Oh, sorry. Sorry, mate, you froze a little bit there. I was just saying,
that's
what more do you think that Dimitri Bivol can do? Because lots of people saw that as a technical masterclass from him. What more can he do to edge it in his favor?
I don't know. I don't know. Like I thought what he did in the first fight, he did well. So the rematch will be interesting. So I think the rematch will show, yeah, who's the true light heavyweight champion.
Couple of last things to touch on in the heavyweight division. Joseph Parker, obviously the standout Kiwi operator over there, as an adopted Kiwi yourself. Where do you think that Joe fits into that division, and what do you see as the next step for him? Lots of people saying a shot at the world title is the only way now.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's had some great wins under his belt, and I believe he deserves that shot. Obviously he's come off those losses, but he's bounced back. He's fought some top opponents, beat them well. So I think it's only right he gets that world title shot around the corner.
If it was to be Daniel Dubois, which would probably be the most realistic name for Parker, how would you see that fight playing out?
Old Edge Parker, that's a great fight. Daniel Dubois is a great fighter too. But I'll leave my way to Joseph Parker, not just because I'm from New Zealand, but I think Parker will edge that. Yeah,
We're talking about Daniel Dubois, who obviously did a demolition job on AJ in late September. The talk is now that Anthony Joshua won't be taking that rematch against Dubois. Does that surprise you at all?
Yes, I thought there would be a rematch. I thought Anthony Joshua would want to fight him straight away. But you never know what's going on in the background. You never know what's going on with the teams. So I can't say for someone else, but I thought the rematch would have happened. If not, there's a next opportunity for someone else to go for the title.
What do you see as your top five heavyweights at the moment? And does Anthony Joshua sort of slot into that for you? Where do you see him in the sort of heavyweight rankings at the moment?
I think he's still up there. My top five will be Usyk, Fury, um,
Hmm.
Daniel Dubois. Um, see, that's top three. Top five.
Putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, I know. Frick, I'll put in yeah, I'll probably put in oh no, see there's a few. Nah. I'll stick with the top three. I
Go
don't
for
I don't put the other five in. The other two.
it. Good stuff. Well,
Yeah.
Jerome, really, really appreciate your time today. Hopefully we do get to see you out in the UK sometime early next year. And yeah, look forward to chatting to you more when we've got some news.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thanks for your time, bro.